What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, it's team selection time for Game Week 24. Yes, finally, Game Week 23 is over. I'm going to go through how I did in 23 very quickly because, let's be honest, no one really wants to talk about it. It was a rubbish week. It was very long as well. And then we're going to move on to Game Week 24. Transfer plans for this week, captaincy as well. And also, why I'm probably not going to buy Salah this week, and also why my transfer plan from yesterday's video has slightly changed as well, because the double and blank updates and stuff like that are coming thick and fast. So if you do enjoy it, give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Let's jump into it. What an absolutely awful game week 23 was. The longest game week of the season. It was like over 2 weeks between deadlines. Obviously, we're not even there yet, right? The deadline's tomorrow. We're still waiting for that. We had to wait like nearly 2 weeks or whatever it was for the second Watford game. Josh King, okay, if you're a Dennis owner, even worse, right? Because you knew he wasn't going to play. Josh King, you wait all that time. He gets a yellow card and 1 point. Didn't really look like scoring. There was a couple of like maybe half chances, but nothing really clear-cut, nothing where you thought, oh, how has he not scored there? So that was frustrating. The only good thing was I waited that long to see the game, and Ben Foster started after missing the first game and did get a clean sheet, the first one of the season for Watford. That was good timing, because if I had De Gea's points on the bench and wasn't able to use them, that would have been annoying. Every single other player, apart from Jota, blanked. Every single one of them, right? It was such a bad week, and Jota's points didn't even really matter because he's so highly owned anyway. The only good thing is, right, cliche alert, it was a good week to have a bad week because everybody else had a really bad week as well. I only dropped like maybe 3,000-4,000 places or something like that, so I'm 76k. It's not amazing, but it's fine at this stage of the season. There's a lot of double and blank game week planning to come, and hopefully we can get a big amount of points over that and start climbing up the ranks a bit before the end of the season, because ultimately it's only the game week 38 rank that actually matters. So yeah, an awful week. I'm really happy to say goodbye to it. Let's talk about Spitch, and then we'll look ahead to Game Week 24. So happy to say that this video has been sponsored by Spitch. If you haven't already checked it out, there is a link in the description below. Click that. You can get the app downloaded and give it a go. You need to be 18 or over. It's available in the UK and a bunch of other EU countries as well. So click that link and you'll be able to download it. And forget about all the kind of chips we're talking about in FPL, blanks and double game week plan and all that stuff. This is just weekly fantasy football. You can use some of your FPL knowledge and transfer it to here as well. Now, there's a bunch of competitions you can go for if you're knowledgeable about different leagues. I stick to what I know. I'm not trying to pretend that I know about other leagues and stuff like that. So I'm going to go with the Premier League. And as you'll see, there's kind of paid for events and free events as well. Obviously, for the paid for events, it is betting. You do need to gamble responsibly. There are links in the description to begambleaware.org as well. For this one, I'm just sticking for the free game, choosing my team. I've already got it selected. And obviously, I've just used a bit of my FPL knowledge to try and pick my team for this week as well. So obviously Man City are playing Brentford at home, good fixture. Foden, De Bruyne came off early. Laporte didn't start the FA Cup game either. They should all play. Elise against Norwich, hopefully he's going to start again. Bowen's against Watford, right? There's lots of good picks here. Once you've selected your team, and again, use your FPL knowledge to do that, you can just choose your captain. Mine's going to be Kevin De Bruyne because he's playing Brentford at home. I actually think he's a very good FPL captain this week as well. You click confirm, and then just at the bottom, click join, and that's it. Just click yes. Easy as that. If you want to give it a download, link in the description below. You just need to be 18 or over. Check all the links that I've put down below. Get it downloaded, pick your team, give it a go. All right, let's start off with the defenders. Now, I've got 2 free transfers this week because I rolled one last week. I got very lucky because I almost brought in Dennis last minute because I was kind of worried about how well owned he was. It was a double game week as well, so I wanted extra players for that as well. And I opted against it. So I got a little bit lucky for that, not bringing him in. So I got 2 free transfers and 4 million in the bank. That's a little bit of a nest egg to get Mo Salah back in, but when we get onto the midfielders, I'll talk about why that probably won't be this week. So defensively, got Trent, obviously got the double game week in game week 26 coming up, so he's definitely staying. Leicester at home looks like a pretty good fixture. There should be some goals in that for Liverpool. Leicester defense has just been so poor this season. I put a tweet out last night, like I think they're in the bottom 5 for expected goals conceded, like worst teams. They just conceded 4 in the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest. Like Nottingham Forest played really well, don't get me wrong. But Leicester defence is just so poor. So maybe that might be difficult to get a clean sheet in, but there could be attacking returns for Trent there, right? So he's staying. I've got to play Craig Dawson this week, probably, right? If you see my bench at the bottom, I've got Trossard and Alonso there, and I've got 2 free transfers, so I have to use one this week. And most of my 11 that are playing, I don't really want to make too many changes. So one of those 2 will probably be sold. I had toyed with selling Trossard, but I'm not 100% sure if that's what I want to do. And even if I sell Alonso, the defender that I bring in, I probably won't play this week. So Craig Dawson's going to get another go in the team. I don't know if I'm that confident about a clean sheet there, but I might bench Josh King this week. So that could be an interesting one. If King scores against Dawson, wipes out my clean sheet, that is going to be tears. De Gea's staying a little while longer. Got a good fixture in game week 27 against Watford at home. Obviously, good fixture this week and a double next week in game week 25 as well. And Cancelo just has to stay, right? It's going to take a lot for me to get rid of him. I'm not saying I will never do it, but against Brentford at home with Norwich next week, it's definitely he's definitely staying in my team. So defense is pretty straightforward. I'm probably going to play these 4: De Gea, Trent, Dawson, Cancelo. Let's look at midfield where it gets a bit more interesting. There's lots of things to consider with my midfield, right? 1, how do I get Salah back? 2, when do I get him back? And 3, who the hell am I going to captain this week? Because it's on Bowen right now, and it's been on him all week, right? I've not changed. I don't really change my captaincy that much anyway. I usually stick it on who I think is going to be the one, and that rarely changes by the time the deadline comes along. But it could be Foden, it could be Jota as well. I'll talk about them in a minute. Now, for Salah, I'm probably not going to get him back this week. Now, I hate this idea that you can't just have a balanced argument or debate about this, that I'm not getting Salah only because I don't have an easy route to him, because that's not true. I could sell Jota, I could sell Foden. The question is that worth doing? For me, if Salah was 100% going to start against Leicester, like Klopp comes out and says he's fine, he's ready to go, I'm going to start him, then I would probably bring him in and captain him. But because I don't think that's going to happen, that is the reason I'm not going to buy him this week. And you can say maybe I'm trying to talk myself into it or whatever, but he has just played 4 120-minute games in a row, right, in the knockout stages of African Cup of Nations. Every single one went to 120 minutes. So I worked it out last night. That's the equivalent of like 5.33 matches in 12 days. That's a lot of minutes for anyone. Forget about how fit Salah might be, how many games he doesn't miss, right? I get it, and there is a little bit of doubt in my mind, but that is a lot of minutes to play. And you then might say, well, he's lost now. He doesn't have to go back to Egypt and celebrate and all this stuff. He's going to go straight back to Liverpool. But not all players, some players are, but not all players are robots, right? This guy has just played 420 minutes and then he's lost a final on penalties. He didn't get to take a penalty. He looked absolutely devastated at the end. That was on Sunday around, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it was when it finished. So is he going to just fly straight back to Liverpool today? I'm sure he is obviously going to travel back soon. And then just be in a good frame of mind to play. Is Klopp just going to want to throw him straight in to a game where they can probably win without him? Diaz came on in the FA Cup, looked pretty good. Obviously, Firmino, Jota are all there as well. I'm not saying for 1 second that Klopp doesn't want Salah and Mane back into his side as soon as possible, because obviously he does. But there's a lot of factors now which just make me think there's just almost no way he starts against Leicester. If he does, yes, I'm going to be worried that I don't own him. I wish I would have captained him. I just think there's enough kind of factors, enough circumstances now to have some doubt that he will not start against Leicester. And to be honest, it does kind of help me out, because I don't really want to sell Jota, because Mane and Salah are probably not, at least one of them is probably not going to start, right? Probably both of them. That means Jota almost certainly will. So I want to keep Jota, and obviously he's got the double game week coming up as well. And Foden, I don't know if I was that happy that I saw him start in the FA Cup, but as a lot of people pointed out on Twitter, they hadn't had a match for a couple of weeks, so there was a bit of fitness building. He did come off around the 79th minute as well, I think it was. So he's probably going to play against Brentford, and I hope he plays against Norwich as well. And they are the 2 main players that I would have to sell to get Salah back, because I can't or don't want to sell Ronaldo to fund it, because obviously Ronaldo's got a double game week next week. So it's just one of those things. If there was no double game week in 25, I'd probably shift the Ronaldo money and just get Salah back in. Job done. But there's lots of things that have come up since then, and that's my reason. You can use it, you can say excuse if you want, but that's my reason for not buying Salah. I just think he's played so many minutes, devastating final loss, probably starts on the bench at best for me. So I'm probably not going to buy him, right? So I'm probably going to stick with this midfield. The captaincy, because I think Jota will start, I do like the option of captaining him against Leicester, because Leicester's defence has just been so bad. But I think with Bowen, you know he's guaranteed to play. You know he's probably going to play 90 minutes as well. I'm probably going to stick with him. But I'll decide that by tomorrow. The only other, and with Foden, I kind of want to keep him for Brentford and Norwich, and then I'm going to bring Salah in. That's my current plan. Again, I could bring him back in for game week 25 against Burnley, but he's not going to be my captain. So I think I'm just going to risk it for one more week. If anything, I'm more worried about game week 25 than I am about 24. Because although I'll captain a Man United player, not owning Salah for any game is kind of painful, right? So that might be a little bit different next week. With Gray, I'm probably going to play him because it's Newcastle. Obviously, we've only seen one game under Lampard. It'd be interesting to see how he fits everyone in when they're fit and available and stuff like that. There could, like, it was a bit of a, I think it was a 3-4-3 that he played in the FA Cup, like 3 at the back. Will he stick to that? If he does, it's Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. Will Gray play on the right? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm probably going to play him this week. The only kind of move I'm thinking of doing for midfield is Trossard to Rafinha. Now, I was quite keen on doing that because there's not really a defender that makes my team better for this week by selling Alonso. But Trossard does have a double game week next week, and it doesn't feel right selling a player before a double. But Trossard to Rafinha is my kind of possible transfer this week. The only thing that would stop that is if I do Alonso to Dalot, so that I get the extra game in 25 when Man United double, rather than waiting until game week 26 and getting in like 8 Nuri or maybe an Arsenal defender instead. The key question is for Dalot is he going to play both games? Like he is first choice, right? I think it's fair to say that. Is he nailed on though? I don't know if it's fair to say that much. And I just can't really afford, I don't think, to get Maguire or someone like that in instead. It just makes getting Salah that little bit harder. So I'll come on to my transfer plans in a minute. But right now, probably not getting Salah. I've told you my reasons why. That's probably going to be my midfield. And the only other transfer I might make with my midfield is possibly Trossard to Rafinha, if Rafinha is fit. If he's not, then I'll probably just keep Trossard. All right, so adding in the forwards, right, it's fair to say Ronaldo hasn't looked great. I mean, some people might say it hasn't looked fantastic all season, but recently he's not looked great, not been scoring a huge amount of goals. I'm not going to shift him to Fernandes, right, because that's just 2 transfers. It just doesn't feel worth it for one captaincy in game week 25. If Man United had like a few double game weeks in a row, it might be a bit different. I could bring in Fernandes for game week 25 and either still choose to captain Ronaldo and just have Fernandes as an extra player, or captain him as well. But it's just extra transfers then to get Salah later on. It's just, is that extra game worth the hit? I might do it next week, but I don't see me doing it this week. Right? I want to give Jota and Foden at least one more game before I make a big decision on kind of when and who to sell. And I don't think I can sell Jota before the double in 26 anyway. So Ronaldo stays. I'm probably not going to captain him. I'm just not feeling confident about him right now, which isn't a good thing going into a double game week. But I think at that point, I just have to just hope that he does some Ronaldo magic. And with that, there is an argument to be made to maybe just bring in Fernandes as well as Ronaldo and captain him instead. Because I do think he's looked good in this 4-3-3. But I'm probably just going to stick to Ronaldo to us. It just helps my transfer plans longer term. It all depends how many hits I want to take. I'm not against taking them, and I might take some in 26 anyway. But it's probably not going to be to get Fernandes in 25, but we'll see. Antonio stays for now. Watford at home. Obviously has some good fixtures. Didn't play in the FA Cup because he had played for Jamaica. So it's not... I would have really liked Antonio to have gotten a rest over this break, but it hasn't happened. I do think he's going to be sold for me soon. And I'm going to come on to why that is, but not for this week. And then Josh King's playing. The only real way I'd probably bench Josh King is if I bring in Rafinha for Trossard. I'd probably play Gray over King and just play 3-5-2. But right now he's in. I'm not massively happy about it, but I don't think it's worth using a transfer on him. So that is the team as it stands for this week. I have to make a transfer, so I will either do Trossard to Rafinha or probably Alonso to Dalot. Let me show you why that is. Okay, so this is where I'm going to show you my transfers. Now, for some of you that have been keeping up with all the videos, I've done this on the last couple of videos, but things have changed slightly again in terms of how the doubles and blanks might work. Only a slight tweak, but it is going to change maybe a few transfer plans moving forward. And by the way, this website is fpl.team. That is the website, fpl.team. So this is the team for this week, okay? Now, I am toying with keeping Trossard for next week. The only problem with Trossard is apparently he missed the FA Cup game against Spurs because of COVID. So whether or not he'll be back for game week 25 and be able to play both games is obviously in doubt. So part of me does think just get Rafinha and just stop worrying about it. If I don't get Trossard, I think the player... I've toyed around with Ben White. I've toyed around with Eric Dyer, and I've toyed around with Aiden Nuri as well. But I'm kind of tempted by Dalot because I think it helps me not use my free hit in game week 27. I'm not actively looking to avoid Arsenal players, but by bringing them in, it kind of forces a game week 27 free hit, and I don't think it's needed, right? So let me show you why, okay? So let's say I bring Dalot in this week, and maybe I play him over Josh King, right? Who cares? I'll put him in for now. It doesn't really matter. I'll decide that by the deadline tomorrow. Then game week 25, you've got the double for De Gea, you've got the double for Dalot, and a double for Ronaldo. Now, as long as Dalot plays both games, which I would admit there's some risk that doesn't happen, right? Wan-Bissaka could play one of the games, but as long as Dalot plays twice, it doesn't matter whether you get the extra game in 25 or the extra game in 26. You could argue Man United defence isn't good enough to double up on, and I would probably agree, but it kind of works to get that extra player in for this week. And then I would have Trossard as well, who I would probably play ahead of Dawson in game week 25. So I'd have 1 De Gea, 2 Dalot, 3 Trossard, and 4 Ronaldo double game week players, and Ronaldo would be my captain, and I would bench Foster, Dawson, King, and Livramento, right? That's 25. Now in 26, just really quickly, this is the week I'd bring in Salah. This is also the week I'd probably sell Foden. So Foden would go for Mo Salah, and I think I've got a bit of money in the bank. Yeah, 0.5 in the bank. You can just see it here. I've got it off screen, but it's there. So Salah would come in. Trossard would be benched for King, who's got a double. I'd also bench De Gea for Foster, who's got a double. So for one transfer, I've got Foster, Trent, Jota, Salah, King, and that's it. 5 double game week players. And that's with one transfer. Bearing in mind I've got 2, and I've only used 1 in every other week. So I've still got 2 this week. Now there's a few ways you can play it. Ronaldo to Kane is definitely part of my thinking, because I think although Ronaldo's got Watford in game week 27, Kane has Leeds away. It's not that bad, and you get the extra fixture in 26, albeit one of them is Man City, right? It's not ideal, but the fixtures going forward are okay. And also I think Kane is just looking good right now, and Spurs in general are just looking better than Man United. So I quite like that move. The other one I would probably do, maybe for a hit, I could keep Ronaldo, but possibly for a hit, is Antonio to Weghorst. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't that impressed with him or Burnley versus Watford. Bearing in mind how bad Watford defence is, they had very few shots, especially Weghorst himself. But he's got a double game week, right? Now, it's not ideal, Brighton away and Spurs at home. But the interesting thing is, when you get to game week 27, because Leicester went out of the FA Cup, they now have some time to play extra fixtures when they're not, because they haven't got FA Cup games to play. When those FA Cup games are being played, they could play some of their rearranged Premier League games. And according to Ben Credin on Twitter, there is a high chance that that game goes Leicester and Burnley in 27. So that would mean that Weghorst and Burnley would have a double in 26 and a double in 27. So taking that extra hit in 26 for Antonio to Weghorst to get an extra fixture that week and an extra fixture the next week, that seems okay to me. So it would be Crystal Palace away and Leicester at home. So I could bench Trent for Livramento. I could bench Salah for Trossard. And I could even bench Gray for Dawson if I wanted to. And that leaves me with Jota. Now, at this point, Liverpool's fixtures, again, a little bit tougher. Now, if Jota keeps playing, that's fine. I don't really care how bad the fixtures are. He's a really good option. But they have got a lot. They will have Salah, Mane, Diaz, Jota, Firmino. It's a lot of competition. So he could then be sold for Cornet. Now, loading up on Burnley players is not necessarily ideal. But if he's got a double game week this week, and it means I don't have to use my free hit, that kind of seems okay. And bearing in mind, I've got my wild card, which I'm probably going to use shortly after game week 30 anyway, so I can get rid of any of these players that are just duds, and I get to keep 2 of my Liverpool players, and obviously I'd play De Gea instead. And that was without using a free hit, and without taking a hit in game week 27 either. I would have this team. Is it the best team? No, but it's fine. If I free hit, there are still some advantages you could have. So you could have triple Man United, although I've already got 2, De Gea and Dalot. But I could have Fernandes and Ronaldo and 1 defender. I could also have Kane, Son and a Spurs defender and have triple Burnley. So 9 players on a free hit would be Spurs against Leeds away, Man United against Watford at home, and then triple Burnley for their double game. And then obviously you just fill in the gaps with 2 more, whoever that ends up being. So there is still some value in the free hit. But I don't know if it's enough to not just play the players that I've got. And that way I could use the free hit after game week 30. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use one in 27 or game week 30. But the fact Leicester lost in the FA Cup now means that there's 3 games guaranteed to be on. Right? If West Ham beat Southampton, that's 4 games that are on in game week 30. And if there's one more upset, that's another game that's going to be on as well. And suddenly there's probably a bunch of players that I don't own from those games that I don't know if I can necessarily get enough players in with those transfers. So I could just free hit in 30. So I think I can get away with it in 27 if that Burnley double goes in there, because I just think then I'm going to captain a Burnley player anyway. I'm not going to captain Kane or Ronaldo or Fernandes. I'm going to captain Weghorst or Cornet. I don't care. It's a double game week. So I think I can get away with it. So that is probably why I quite like Dalot this week, because it gives me him against Watford in 27 rather than Ben White, for example, who's going to blank. Aït-Nouri is an option. I could go for him instead. Obviously, he plays in game week 27 as well, but I just kind of like the Man United fixtures instead. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. For this week, Trossard to Rafinha is on if Rafinha is fit, but otherwise I'd probably choose my one transfer to do Alonso to Dalot. Unless anyone else has got some bright ideas, leave a comment below and let me know. There we go. Don't forget to check out Spitch if you haven't already. Link in the description below. If you did enjoy that video, give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I know there's been a lot of videos and a lot of changes around plans and doubles and blanks, but that is just what happens at this time of year, especially with the FA Cup. The only good thing is it does give us a chance to plan. Obviously, you still want to leave transfers as long as possible, but we are into kind of planning season rather than let's see which game gets postponed season. I'm hoping that is going to happen less and less moving forward. I'll leave that video there. I'll have a game week preview out tomorrow, probably morning time, obviously, because it's a deadline in the evening and a deadline stream as well. And we'll finally be back to some proper FPL. Thank you for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.